A sequel to The Housemaid, Sydney Sweeney's film that pulled in a massive $388 million at the box office, is officially on the way. While the first movie became an unexpectedly huge hit in theaters, new statements from the production side now suggest that the second film is moving much faster than we originally thought. What's more, according to what's being said, the script is already very close to being finished, and there's serious excitement building around the project. So, when is The Housemaid 2 really coming? Where will the story go this time? And will Sydney Sweeney once again be at the center of this dark game? We'll get into all the details in just a moment, but before we begin, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for the latest updates from the world of film. Let's get started. Starring Sydney Sweeney, The Housemaid quickly turned into a surprise success for a lot of people the moment it was released. The film managed to grab the audience's attention with both its dark atmosphere and its level of tension. And now, the real attention grabber is the fact that this story is officially continuing. What's more, the latest comments from the producer show that things are moving faster than expected for the sequel. So, in short, the Housemaid universe may only just be getting started. In the first film, Sydney Sweeney's character Millie was a young woman with a troubled past who began working as a maid in the home of a wealthy family. But before long, she realized that this house was far less innocent than it appeared from the outside. And honestly, that was one of the film's strongest qualities. It gives the audience what seems like a familiar story at first, but then keeps raising the pace with new secrets and new tension. That's what pushed it beyond being just a standard thriller and turned it into a movie people really talked about. One of the biggest reasons the film grew this much was its box office success. Even though it was a mid-budget thriller, it delivered a very strong performance worldwide. That's what pushed the studio to move quickly on a sequel. Because in today's market, it's not something you see every day for a film like this to get such a major response. Sydney Sweeney's star power also had a very serious impact here. The movie started to look like an important turning point in her career as well. Now let's get to the big development people have been talking about in recent days. According to producer Todd Lieberman, the team actually moved on the sequel earlier than most of us expected. In fact, the script for the second film reportedly started being written before the first movie had even hit theaters. The most striking part is how confidently the producer talks about the script. In his statement, he says the screenplay is very good and that there's serious excitement around the project. And that shows this sequel isn't just an announced idea sitting on paper, it's a project that's genuinely moving forward. The sequel will most likely be shaped around Freida McFadden's second book, The Housemaid's Secret. That means Millie will once again find herself in a new house, surrounded by new people and new secrets. But what makes this story interesting isn't just the new characters. The real point is that Millie is once again going to be pulled into a dark and dangerous situation, and the events around her will become even more intense. If the second film can preserve the tension established by the first one and add new layers on top of it, this series could really grow into a major thriller franchise. The cast is also becoming a separate point of curiosity when it comes to the sequel. Sydney Sweeney's return already feels like the most important part of this project, because Millie has now firmly become the center of this series. Whether Amanda Seyfried returns seems more likely to depend on the direction of the story. Some comments suggest she could come back in a smaller role. The Corona's name is also being mentioned again alongside the sequel. So the second film may not only open up a new story, but could also bring back some familiar faces from the first movie. One of the biggest advantages here is that the source material is already in place, because this universe doesn't consist of just one book. Freida McFadden has written other books that continue this story, and that's a major plus for the producers. So this isn't a sequel story they have to invent completely from scratch. There's already a second book that readers have responded to that could help the sequel stand on a much stronger foundation. Especially with book adaptations, when audiences already have at least some idea of where the story may go, the anticipation grows even more. The film's success wasn't just about the story, timing also mattered a lot, because The Housemaid arrived at a moment when audiences had started showing interest again in dark, mysterious, adult-oriented thrillers. In recent years, among major studio releases, these kinds of dirtier, more unsettling, more intrigue-heavy films haven't stood out all that often. But The Housemaid changed that. People first checked it out because of the Sydney Sweeney factor, and then as the movie spread, more viewers started saying, there's actually something here worth talking about. That's exactly why the expectations for the sequel have turned into more than just normal curiosity. They've become real interest. Right now, one of the biggest question marks is when the movie will actually shoot and when it will hit theaters. On the official side, the goal being discussed is for production to begin sometime in 2026. If the process moves forward as planned, many people believe the sequel could arrive in 2027. Of course, that's not a confirmed date yet, but looking at the current picture, it doesn't seem far-fetched at all. Especially after the success of the first movie, it's clear the studio won't want to leave this project waiting too long. Because with films like this, one of the most important things is bringing out the second installment before the excitement starts to fade. What we have right now is a series with real growth potential. For Sydney Sweeney, this project could take on an even more important place in her career, and for the studio, it could turn into a new thriller brand. If the sequel Bumette has a screenplay as strong as people are saying, the second film could make even more noise than the first one. Right now, all eyes are on the official production process, returning cast members, and the first major announcements, because it really does look like this story is only just beginning. If the sequel truly has a script as strong as people are saying, then the second film could become an even bigger event than the first. So what do you think? Could The Housemaid 2 be just as successful as the original? And would you want to see Sydney Sweeney return to this character? Be sure to write your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to stay updated on film news like this. See you in the next video.